Hi everyone.
Hey! Welcome to our live event. A big welcome to everyone. And let's see who's here. Brian, say hi, Brian. I see you. All right. Welcome to our live event. Welcome to the Rich Conversation. We are your hosts, David ECD,
And this is
and
Louis. And this is Louis Ho.
our focus is all about how you can become richer. Now, if you've just joined us, do us a favor. Just type in under the comment section, say hi, so we know you're there. We know who's with us. All right, here we go.
Yes, I see Brian. Hi Celine. Iru.
Well,
Hi
cool.
Tianta. Janelle. Thanks for joining us. Good to see you guys.
Wow, so many people coming in. Cool. Yo. All right. Let's go. Let's get the show on.
Well, guys, before we get our special guest, Aaron Wan, to join us, please do us a favor. Help us to share this broadcast on your Facebook. Hit the share button.
Share,
Thank
share,
you. Hi
share, share, share.
Celine.
Hi, Regine. Hi, Chris. Hi, Mark. All right,
And
cool.
thanks for joining us.
Yuru is here. The Golden Eagle is here. Now, we want to thank you for joining us. All right. Today, we have a special guest with us, Aaron Wan. Now, just to tell you in a little bit who Aaron Wan is. Aaron Wan was formerly a banker with Credit Suisse and a tax consultant at PwC Singapore, one of the world's largest accounting firm. Aaron purchased his first property at age 24. While most people his age might be scouting around for their first property to live in, he bought an investment property. Wow. He became a millionaire before age 30 and currently owns multiple properties worth millions of dollars. Can someone type in and say, wow, I want that too, millions of dollars worth of property? He's a real estate investor, mentor, coach, and trainer. He's the one you trust. Now let's put our hands together and welcome Aaron. Come
Hey, hi
on.
David. Hi Louis. Thanks for
Hi,
having me here.
Aaron.
Aaron,
Hello.
thank you for taking time with
Yes, thank
us
you
on
for
Yes,
joining us
yes.
tonight.
Wednesday evening during this lockdown. How's the lockdown been for
Pleasure to be
you?
here.
How's the
Good.
lockdown been for you?
Uh, not good for that one. I guess we would all look forward to lives going back to normal soon.
Cool. All
Yeah.
right. How's little Claire?
She's good. I think she should be sleeping right now or going
Cool.
to sleep soon. My wife should be taking care of her.
Did you notice something about me?
Same outfit as me, blue color.
No, I've lost weight.
Ah, right.
I've been working out so hard during this lockdown. You didn't notice I lost weight. You see my chin? You can see.
I've been following you a lot, so maybe someone who haven't seen you in a while, he will feel so. But yeah, I'm sure you did. It shows on the scale, right?
So anyway, we invited you on because we wanted to hear your story. We wanted to hear tips from you. We want to learn
Right,
lessons, right? So
right.
one of the best ways to learn to become rich is to learn lessons from other successful and rich people, and then get gems from there and see how we can progress in life. So without further ado, the first question we want to ask you is this: money wise, what were your growing up years like? What was your growing up years like when you were young? Were you born with a, I don't know, silver spoon? How was it?
So maybe I would start by describing the kind of family I came from. So
Okay.
my dad, he's a self-employed, or I would just say he's a person who uses his hobby as a form of generating income for the family. So it's actually
Okay.
very fun. He's a magician. Yeah,
Mm.
so since young, I would follow him to shows, watch him perform, of course, watch him train. And yeah, the kind of a family that I grew up in, entertainment industry. My
Mm.
mom, she's a housewife, hence a lot of support from her, in the back end, helping my dad. uh, I would say we were low middle income.
Okay.
um, as I grew up, of course, I also picked up some of these performing skills. I was an acrobat for a while. I did the face changing act for a while as well, the Chinese opera thing.
What do you mean
So
face changing?
these
Sorry,
were,
sorry. What do you mean by face changing?
oh, you know that
The Chinese
if you've,
type of 变脸, right?
yeah, if you have eaten in the some of the steamboat restaurants, I think they would
Uh,
have that live demonstration of this act. It's from
oh,
Sichuan, so I'm
Do you
the
still practice
few
it?
people in Singapore that does that. Sorry.
Wow. Do you still practice it?
It's kind of like freelance. If I have the time and there are people interested and they engage me, I would perform. But
Oh.
rarely these days. Yeah, yeah. So
What?
oh,
while doing these things, of course, there would be a fee, and this fee will be saved up. So I would say, money wise, as I grow up through the years, there were many different forms of a little bit of income here and there. Even
mm,
before I started officially working as an accountant and with Credit Suisse back then. So things like, for example, because I was pretty good in accounting, the principles of accounting that I did in secondary school. When I was doing poly, I was actually tutoring that to a few students. So that also gives me extra pocket money. Of course, most
okay.
of it is all saved up.
Mm,
Um, Similar as my dad, I wouldn't say exactly the same, but I tend to do a lot of things related to my hobby, but
mm,
yet hopefully able to make some money. So, for example, in Polytechnic, I see a lot of people wearing those collared shirts, right? So there's,
yeah,
of course, so many different brands out there like Polo Ralph and Fred Perry and all these stuff,
yeah.
Abercrombie or whatever. But the point is that as I search these clothing to wear them for school, at the same time I found pretty good contacts that sells them at very good prices, and that's what I am always very good at doing. So of course, you know thinking out of the box, I thought, hey, might as well buy extra just to sell.
Mm,
So that was something that I did for a while, made pretty good, okay money. In fact, I wiped out all the stocks from that person selling so that I can resell them in school and to my friends and online. Back then,
Wow.
I think we had Yahoo auctions, and so that was a good platform. Apart from that, I would say the another thing that I did a lot, and
mm,
maybe bulk of my savings came from, especially after secondary school and onwards, would be
yeah.
gaming. Interestingly, so I played a lot of what we call as MMORPG, multiplayer role playing game, right? It's online role playing game. There were several games, but again, because of how I am being brought up, especially my mom, I
Yeah.
think I often, that accountant instinct will just inside of me to always want to find the best deal before I spend that money. Like now, if I were to buy a property, I'll make sure I get the best in terms of value for money.
Mm,
If I get a car, I make sure I get the best price, best time, things like that. Even as I said earlier on the shirt, even just a simple collared shirt for school, I will make sure I hunt down the best supplier and stuff like that. So
so
same thing when
are
I
you
play my game. Mhm.
are you one of those who would sell something to your classmates for a better price?
Uh, well, I
One
guess
of those.
I definitely had classmates who have supported me to buy those branded
Yeah.
collared shirts that I was selling back then. Yeah, so
Okay.
thanks for their support. But you know, um, so as I was saying about the gaming, as a young teenager, like a lot of us, here we would probably be very tempted to spend that money to look
Mm,
better inside the game. It's very similar to real life, right? Like I would want to I would probably want to spend money to buy money in the game such
yeah.
that I can buy a better, cooler weapon or armor or something like that. So that's what I
Yeah.
did a lot when I grew up, and as I do that, right, because I kept hunting for better deals, better deals,
Yeah.
better deals,
Okay.
I end up with a lot of good contacts, and these contacts is what we call Chinese gold farmers or whatsoever. they are able to give me very low cost that in Singapore it's we are typically unable to find this kind of prices. So again, it's like normal uh, any other business. You buy cheap, you sell high. So that's what I did a lot, especially in the later part of the years of my polytechnic, and of course a little bit of army life.
So I'm
Which gave
curious,
some quite good
how
savings.
did you move from gaming, right? How did you move from gaming and then you start moving to property investing? What really started that hunger or that desire to say, I should start investing in property? What prompted you to do so? How did you get interested?
Yeah, I think that's a good question because thinking back, right, it's really because of my army life, which was not
Mm,
so smooth sailing, and many things happened during then. Like my own maternal grandfather actually passed on during that period. So there's a
mm,
lot of emotions and things like that. And as I was sharing earlier, because the fact that I have saved up some money, this money was supposed to be paying for my own education eventually to go to Australia or something. And in fact, all the research work and everything has already been done.
yeah.
So because of the things that happened during the course of army, I've decided that look, I'm just gonna do a part-time degree while serving national service. I was a clerk and I was allowed to go home every day.
Mm,
So um, halfway through my army life, I've decided to take up my degree, and
yeah.
hence, of course, bulk of the money is saved up. And of
Mm,
course, I'm a very forum kind of guy back then. Like I read a lot of forums, just like gaming. I go into the forums to sell my stuff. Same thing. Whenever I'm interested in something, be it cameras or for a while wakeboarding and of course and then eventually property. I guess
yeah.
it's just something during those days. The after Lehman crisis that you really see, and if you read enough news, people making multiple folds in just a couple of years, even days. Back then,
Mm,
we can flip options. So that
yeah.
really got me interested in learning more. So I've learned a lot
Yeah.
self-taught online, like I said, through forums, through reading up people's discussion. Um,
Mm,
and from there, I got really keen. Of course, I didn't have
I see.
much. And as you have introduced me earlier, I was like 23, 24, doing a lot of homework. Uh, so that
Yeah,
I guess was
yeah,
the.
that was one of yeah,
Sorry, I didn't
yeah,
catch.
sorry. No, I said actually. Oh no, no, that was one of the question that we wanted to
Oh
ask. Like
yes,
we
yes,
know
yes.
that at the age of 23 and you already started buying. So I wanted to ask, like, how was it? Can you share with us like some tips? How do you go about doing it when you
Yeah.
make your first property purchase? Because at 23 and 24, a lot of people, they just come out from NS. They wouldn't really be thinking, or they just started work. They wouldn't really be thinking about buying their first property.
yeah.
But you did it at the age of
That's right.
24.
Really
So can you share
power
with us what do you learn?
property
Any tips?
purchase.
You see, I would say that typically as a Singaporean, we always
Mm,
have this mindset of wanting to make that money from the government because the fact we are all eligible to buy HDB, right? So, similarly, I have always toyed with the idea, but of course, I can't just force myself to get married with, whoever.
mm,
Of course, back then, I just, of course, the eventual purchase, I met my wife already, who was then my girlfriend. But before that, when I was already reading up on properties, I can't just rush into getting married to just so that I can buy a HDB. So that wouldn't work out. But I also did up my sums. You see, if I were to buy a resale flat back then, I think that was
yeah.
2012, 2011. Um, I would probably get about $30,000 of grant back then. I think now the grants have increased a little bit. Um, but the point I'm trying to say is that because of this $30,000, a lot of
Mm,
the young people these days, especially if they were to be making decent income, they actually would still rather to take up that grant so that they make from the government and then give up that path of making their own money from the private sector. So that was
mm,
a lot of the numbers going into my calculations back then. Of course, a lot of you may wonder, wow, when you're 23, 24, wouldn't you be just starting out work? Yeah, because you see, I was not the typical Singaporean JC route kind of guy. I did
Yeah.
my education background was not so good. In fact, I went to Sec 5, I went to Polytechnic. So all these things slowed me down. But like I said earlier on, because of my army and I've studied during army, I managed to catch back up with people my age. But you see, the more important thing is that um, with a first job of when I was in the accounting firm, it was barely a 2,700, I think, per month salary. That was
Mm.
impossible in today's context to take a loan for a
Yeah.
property. But back then, there were a few banks that you can just deposit about $110,000 or so, if I remember correctly. They would upgrade you into this privilege or wealth banking. And back then, because there was no TDSR, total debt servicing ratio, you could immediately be granted a loan, if I remember correctly, up to $800,000 loan, not
Mm.
property quantum. Can you imagine that? So, in today's context, we can buy up to almost $1 million, right? But
Mm.
back then, because I only had about 100 over thousand of savings that was meant to be used in my education, I used this money to down pay and eventually got a new launch. It was a Suites at Paya Lebar. Now, why I chose this project is also pretty interesting since you're asking me about my first property purchase, right? Back then, of course, $500,000, I can also use it to go maybe up north, Punggol, Sengkang. A lot of new launches were doing one bedrooms at 500,000. I think there was this Park Rosewood in Woodlands going at 398 or something like that. I can also choose to go Geylang, of course, and Lavender, that area. There's always a lot of studios doing at that kind of price. But why I
Yeah.
chose this particular development is because I even went into studying the developer's track record. And I
Yeah.
knew that, this particular developer, they built houses fairly quickly. That's
Mm.
the typical track record back then. And again, where did I get all this information from? Because I read a lot of stuff online, right? On the
Yeah.
forums and all these things. So the owners discussing it with each other, how fast is it to get their keys and stuff like that. So because I knew that upon purchasing, I should be getting my keys within 1+ year because it's a
Mm.
small development.
Yeah.
Time value of money and the fact that I could rent it out earlier and stuff like that uh, was the main reason why I bought this property with, of course, the limited budget I had. And well, thank God also that it was a pretty good timing.
Yeah.
uh, Even though I sold it at that time, there was the 4 year seller stamp duty that has been reduced now to 3 years. So that I had to incur a 8% seller stamp duty. I still made pretty cool profits because I rented it out for $2,700 a month
What
back
was the
then
mortgage
for a
like?
year. Yeah, in today's context, it's pretty high in that kind of location and that kind of size. Yeah.
Okay.
So that was my first property.
Sorry, I want to interject a little.
Yep, yep. Go ahead,
We
David.
talked about numbers, right? We
Yep.
talked about the logic of the investment process. What I want to ask you is, how did it feel like? You're 24 years old. How did it feel like to get your first set of keys and and you
Wow.
come into the place and you're like, this is my place? How did it feel?
So back then, I recall on the key collection day, I brought my
Yeah.
wife, today's wife, but of course back then my girlfriend. Uh,
Yeah.
in case you're wondering, the same person. I brought her along with my mom, and eventually my maternal grandmother came as well just to see the place. It was so exciting, a lot of emotions. Of course, it's my first, and every single cent was saved up by my own. So it's really, really, really happy. Yeah, I would just say
Cool.
I'm really happy back then.
Let me check with the audience a little. We want to thank all the audience for coming in. We want to thank Karen. We want to thank Wendy. We want to thank Celine. We want to thank Ozzy. We want to thank Alicia for all coming in. We're having an awesome time chatting with Aaron, a young millionaire. And not to worry, there'll be time for Q&A later on in the program. So hang around and do share the broadcast. Now, Aaron, I need to ask you a very big question. You know, the pandemic has been going on for several
Mm,
weeks now. We've been locked
right.
in the circuit breaker for 6 weeks. A lot of people have been asking questions. A lot of you can see in forums and all that. The big question is, where do you think the Singapore residential property market is headed in the next 6 months to a year? Some say, oh, I think it's going to crash. Some people say that, look, I think it's going to continue on strong. In your personal opinion, where do you think the Singapore residential property market is headed in the next 1 year?
Now, you see, I think, of course, this is a very deep topic.
Yes,
But a question like that, I would also say it's a very generic topic. So I'm not
yes,
going to go segment and analyze each one. But I would say,
yeah,
as a by and large, you see,
mm,
the entire situation right now is heavily dependent on the outcome of the COVID-19 situation, right?
okay,
If I were to give you an answer, and then next moment the vaccine is is found to be suitable, of course
okay,
things may change. But of course, if things are the same, we're talking about Singapore itself. I believe a lot of people may forget, or or choose to forget, in fact, that actually right now it's the first time ever in Singapore's history that we are facing such a situation. However, at the same time, we have so many, this whole string of cooling measures that are in
yeah,
place.
yeah,
So people who are in the market, they should be capable to be in the market, if I were to put it that way. What
yeah,
do I mean? Because you see, simply put it this way, a TDSR, total debt servicing ratio, this
mm,
was introduced in 2013 and has never been removed. In fact, it has been tweaked to become more difficult to be eligible to
yeah,
take up loans because of the 80% to 75% LTV for the first property. So
okay,
people who are able to be in any property right now should
mm,
have better holding power. Of course, then some people may think, hey, Aaron, but this situation, as you know, what the ministers have said, would cause even some businesses to disappear, if I were to put it that way. Well, I
yeah,
totally agree with that. Right?
yeah,
Look at our retail, look at our F&B, look at our traveling tourism and stuff like that. These segments are hit badly. But my point is that, you see, what if, as the market is going south, as people really lose their jobs, and there will be this pocket of people who are unable to service their loans and being
mm,
forced to sell their properties. Let's say, yeah, this happened. But what happens if, to prevent a big fall, the government looks at it and actually removes some of the cooling measures? For example,
yeah,
back in 2005 4 period, where I'm currently living, that was during the launch time. Of course, I didn't buy it during launch, my property now. But
yeah,
I hear a lot of my neighbors who have bought
mm,
during launch, they were able to buy 5 units, each one was 1 million, with only $1 million cash. Can you imagine that? That means
mm,
LTV was up to 90% for unlimited purchases.
yeah,
So I always like to ask people that, what if this happens again? What if
yeah,
this happens again, whereby you are able to buy properties with leverage and 90% leveraging, and
mm,
there's in a sense there's no control, no measures in place like today. Now that's the first question. The second question, the second biggest cooling measure I would want to talk about would be the ABSD, additional buyer stamp duty. Again, you
yeah,
see, if market were to go south, and because of that, the government does not want it to go so deep down.
yeah,
What if they choose to reduce or even remove ABSD? Now, how you
mm,
see, as you said, David, we receive a lot of questions about how's the market going. Is it going
yeah,
down? In fact, a lot of people is not asking it. A lot of people is saying it will go down. I'm not saying it will not go down. What
yeah,
my question is that if it does goes down, what happens if people were to be able to buy without ABSD? You see,
okay,
but and at the same time, where there's a lot of people asking whether market will go down, there's also, I'm sure you as an agent would have a lot of people asking you the next question. Do you think, David, that ABSD will be removed?
mm,
Right? So so it's very funny. We have, the same people asking the same questions. Would market go down,
yeah,
ABSD removed? So my
yeah,
question is, if ABSD is removed, would you be at the right place, right time to buy first before market goes back up?
Yeah.
But a lot of people will like to think they can be.
So
They
what you
will think that the
opportunity?
moment, yeah, that's the funny thing, because they will think that the moment ABSD is removed, developers will wait for them or sellers will wait for them. They will buy their properties first, then the market shoots up.
I see.
But I like to think otherwise. Yeah, usually we are not so fast to react.
So Aaron, for a seasoned property investor like yourself, you know that people who are listening right now to this program, they may be seasoned property investors like you. What would your advice be during this current market?
Now, honestly, it all depends. Of course, the keyword here I'm picking up from your sentence, investor. If I'm
Yeah.
talking to an investor today, then and he has no reason for having the need to buy now, I may not ask him to buy now, right? But if I'm talking to a need buyer, a buyer buying it because he's getting married, or sorry to say, getting divorced, upgrade, downgrade, or people passing on inheritance and they need to sell. These are what I call the need sellers and buyers. Then of course I think there's no choice. They either really have to look into selling or buying. But of course, if you had a choice, I don't think in the current situation there's any need to quickly go and buy something. Put it that way. And but again, having said that, it all depends on you as an individual. What is your time horizon of investment at by and large? And of course, to some people like myself, as the example I've just given, if I only have that $500,000, come on, and I want to buy a property, right? What is in the market right now? There's $500,000. If I
Mm,
do a search on Property Guru, probably just a few listings, and again, same Geylang, Lavender, all these shoeboxes units may pop up for the resale segment. I'm quite sure there's nothing in the new launch segment that can sell me at 500 over thousand. So it all
yeah,
depends on what kind of buyer you are. For
yeah,
example, let me move upwards a little bit. If you are a $700,000 buyer, there may be only that few units of, I don't know, particular development. I'm not going to talk about any development today, but and let's say that particular development of the lowest quantum unit only left 5 units, and out of the 5 units, developers maybe, because of the current situation, giving some discounts here and there. I guess it's important then to take a look. Why? Because you see, first thing, what if you are view sensitive, you are unable to accept a west sun view, for example? What if you are number sensitive, you are unable to accept second floor, third floor, fourth floor? Then I think yes, you should be paying attention right now. Because why? A lot of the developers, sellers are being more realistic, pricing their things more
yeah.
sensibly and sensitively. So it all depends on you as an individual. Where are you? Why are you even thinking of property? Why are you even buying something? So of course, if you're an investor, again, how deep is your pocket? If you are a seasoned investor, then I don't think there's a need to, unless you're looking at good purchases that may come, in time to come here and there. But of course, you got to be fast, good enough, with the right context of the agents updating you, and a passionate one who is looking at the market every day. Otherwise, I tell you, the typical things that I always hear from people is that, oh, Aaron, if there's a fire sale, please let me know. And I always like to poke at them and ask them, okay, how good is a fire sale, or what do you mean by a fire sale? Because you see, if it's anything at a $1 million or $2 million, I have a lot of people who are with me who do not need
Yeah.
to view it. Let's say the market comes down, or that particular seller is willing to take a 20% drop from valuation. I have a lot of people who seriously don't have to view and they can just buy. So my point is, unless you're talking about 4 5 million and above, big quantum item, and the numbers of buyers for these kind of market is much smaller, then yes, fire sale may stay on the market for a while, and then some rich guy may come and buy. But otherwise, those that are easily absorbed by the market, anything $1 to $2 million, I don't think there will be a huge fire sale happening, both from the primary and secondary market. Yeah, so
So
that's my personal view.
okay, so let me summarize in a simple way. What you're saying is that during this season, because of the pandemic, the smart way to approach is to watch. Don't get emotional. But if there are opportunities, you move for it. That you're not swayed by greed or you're not swayed by fear. Correct?
Yep, I would
That's
agree with that.
the way to put it.
Yeah, I guess of course the proper calculations must still be done with your consultants. Make sure you're buying with a peace of mind. Make sure that only you know what kind of jobs you're holding that is giving you that kind of salary or commission or whatever that is for your income wise, and if it's stable, or if you're not fearful of job loss, then I think it's okay to look out for good deals. And of
Mm.
course, working backwards, if you're only a $1 million buyer, actually there isn't a lot of good deals out there, maybe only a few types of properties. If you're a
Yeah,
1.5 million, maybe yeah, slightly more, but 1.5 million, you may actually want to start to look into the CCR region, right?
yeah,
So if at the moment you focus into the CCR, again, you are limited by choices because you only have 1.5. But of course, when
mm,
you talk about 2 million, I think you're pretty safe. You can look at both CCR, OCR, or all three, even RCR and all these things. So I
mm,
guess it's a lot of working backwards of affordability and what
yeah.
is the quantum that you're looking at. Of course, if you're telling me, Aaron, I'm okay, I've got deep pockets, then good, because I think once in a while we will see very good deals coming in at the higher quantum levels. Yeah.
Okay. So for those who are watching, if you've just joined us, welcome. We are having a rich conversation with Aaron Wan. It's been quite fruitful listening to him.
Yeah.
This is David ECD and Louis Ho from Rich Property. We are passionate about helping everyone be richer. We wanted to help as many people as possible. So we thought, why not have a series of conversations with other successful and rich people like Aaron Wan, so that through their life stories, lessons, and tips, we all can learn to be richer. Now, if you want to be richer, I want you to type in the comment section, I want to be richer. Come on, get your fingers moving, type in the comment section, I want to be richer, before we move on. Here we go. So just now you shared a little about seasoned property investor. Now
Right.
let's move to the other end of the spectrum, right? A seasoned investor, he's calm, he's gone through this season before, maybe he's gone through SARS, he knows what he needs to do, but maybe comes a newbie on the market,
Mm,
right? He's
mm.
thinking of investing, right? Then suddenly the pandemic comes. What are the challenges or pitfalls a new investor should avoid?
Well, I guess the first thing that comes up to my mind from this question would be overcommitting.
Okay.
Of course, doing up your careful calculations on your sum. Only you know that whether your job is giving you a consistent bonus, or salary that is very safe, or
Yeah.
are you in a iron rice bowl kind of work that
Yeah.
is very safe regardless of what kind of economic situation. So I think it's a lot of about that affordability still, for
Okay.
both season as well as a newbie kind of investor, that one should of course not be too over committed. You see, yeah, and then sometimes when I share this, then people say, Aaron, you almost went all in. What you said, you have 100 over 1,000, you buy 500,000, that's all in, right? What kind of? So you see, again, profile is also very important, because I'm a person, as I answered your first question, I'm a very thrifty kind of guy, right? You see, right now I'm wearing a unique Uniqlo shirt talking to you. Uh, I always believed in being frugal, spending
Mm,
on my needs rather than my wants, and things like that. So it all depends on an individual. Yeah. So I would say for most of the newer investors, it is of course definitely much safer to also work out your sums to see what is the kind of safety net that you may
mm,
have at the end of the day after
okay.
committing to your purchase. Are you able to accept a job loss for 48 months, even for example, for 4 years?
Mm,
Without any income for 4 years, I'm still able to pay my mortgage, for example. Then I think you're very safe. Yeah.
okay.
That's it. Okay.
Cool.
Hey, um,
Yep.
I also understand that when you were younger, you
Right.
actually debts that needed to be clear, but yet you managed to buy your first property at the age of 24. What advice would you give to those who had debt and also want to invest in property?
Well, I would say first of all, you have to work out into clearing your debts, right? Because of TDSR today, it's almost impossible,
Mm,
especially if the banks are after you, that kind of debt situation. But again, you see, back to earlier what I shared, it's a lot about lifestyle. Now, because of my job, I meet a lot of people every day. And some of these people that I meet, right, they may be in a debt situation, right? Be it credit cards or personal loans and things like that. And the funny thing is that many a times, right, when I know them deeper, the kind of cars they are still driving, even though they are in the debt situation, funny thing, they're still driving, or the kind of like spending habits that they still have, you know, amazes me. I
Mm.
just cannot comprehend. Why? Because again, I'm brought up very differently. My
Prudent.
mom is big saver, yeah, very prudent, very conservative. She's someone who has taught me to even sometimes during my younger days to use secondhand textbooks, secondhand uniform, things like that. That was how I was brought up. And
Yeah.
I would say because growing up HDB all the way, uh, I I'm used to being more careful with my money. Hence, for a person who is in debt and would eventually still want to invest in property, I think you have to settle your debts first, right? So you have to sort out a savings plan in terms of the kind of money that's coming in still every month, or if you're odd job worker or stuff like that that you're still trying. I think you have to work out a plan. How much are you able to set aside every month to clear the
Mm,
debts? Of course, to as at the same time to save. Depends on how deep you are in debt. Whether or not the banks have a savings plan for you as well. So I think
Mm.
that's very important. Of
mm,
course, setting a goal to tell yourself maybe by the end of this year, or if you're deeper, maybe by the end of 2 years, you must get yourself out of this hole,
mm,
and of course work harder, right? If people are doing a job that pays $2,000-3,000, you have to do two jobs that pays you $4,000-6,000. That's how I look at life.
mm,
Yeah.
In fact, with or without that, I always like to see that I am able to commit more time
mm,
and of course money than other people. Then I should do better than others. Yeah, these are the
Yeah.
two things that you have to do more. So if you don't have the time, if you don't have the money to dedicate more than the rest, then you have to dedicate more time to work harder. Yeah,
mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
The journey of 1,000 mile begins with one step. So you got to take that steps, get yourself out of debt, and then move into the positive
yeah,
property investing.
Mm,
So here we are. We're going to move into a question and answer session in about few minutes time. But I
right.
thought we put Aaron Wan on the spot. How many of us would like to see Aaron Wan on the spot? If you want to see Aaron Wan put on the spot, say yes, we want Aaron Wan to answer a tough question. Please answer a tough question. Put that in the comments. All right. So Aaron, we're going to put you on the spot here, and we're going to ask you this: what do you say about the phrase "money is power"? Many you've heard that before. Money is power. What do you say about that phrase?
The funny thing, the first thing that comes out of my mind is Spider-Man, right? With power comes great responsibility. Well, you see, as much as we like to say, oh, money is not everything, but definitely we have also heard of money is definitely something. Because with money, you can get out of trouble, you can get out from a lot of situations that are bad.
Okay.
I would say money really, it's something that, of course, this again, wow, you really give me a very deep topic. It can go into to beliefs, religions, and stuff like that. But let's not go all into all these, deeper topics. But I would say, as a general topic, money is something that a person or human being cannot live without. I put it this way. And with
mm,
abundance of it, definitely you could do more, even for others, your loved ones, and things like that. So, I guess it's again being responsible. Back with Spider-Man, right? You see, for example, like myself, I would like to think that yes, I may be a little bit more blessed, or maybe that's the wrong way to say it, but I'm maybe more hardworking that has resulted in slightly more than other people. Okay,
Yeah.
uh,
Driven.
yeah. However, you see, again, the thing is that I cannot just spend money the way I like it. I have to discuss with my wife, being responsible as a father, as a husband, making sure that I'm thinking for my wife, my kid before I spend. So I guess that's what Spider-Man means, right? About power and responsibility. So of course, being more capable, are you putting money into places that are also helping people, putting time into growing other people's lives and things like that. I would say that is why just now, as you introduced me, I really enjoy guiding younger people, newer people that are in this industry. And
Yeah.
that's also part of the biggest reason why I choose to take up this responsibility to help make people lives better through coaching them, and of course sharing my own stories and things like that to hopefully inspire more people.
Mm.
So um well, that's my thought about money is power.
It's what you do with it, right? It's neither
Yeah,
evil nor good. It's just what you
yeah.
do with it. Okay, so Aaron has been very kind. He has a special bonus prepared for everyone who is listening. So if you want the special bonus, I want you to type in the comment section, yes, I want the special bonus. Write it down, type it right now in the comment section. Yes, I want the special bonus. Aaron will be sharing with us where he believes are the hidden gems or undervalued property in the market. We want you to like our page, David and Louis page, like our page, send your name and email address to this link. Let me see, somewhere here, right? The link can also be found on our page. Now, it's not part of the live broadcast today. It's not part of the live broadcast. It's a video recording that we have done that we will email to you. All right. So now we're coming to the Q&A portion of our rich conversation. So we're going to give you a heads up, 10 seconds. Type the questions that you want Aaron to answer. Type the questions you want Aaron to answer, and we'll answer as many questions as we possibly can. Let me see, where are the questions that's coming? All right.
Yeah, a lot of people are still saying, yes, I want the special bonus.
Everybody wants a special bonus.
Yes, yes, of course.
Okay. Does anyone out there have any questions for Aaron today? Because I think Aaron has. No, we got to ask Aaron more difficult questions. Enough of our power questions, right? So, does anyone have any
I gotta
questions?
think of more movie characters now.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
people
a
are still talking. Mm.
good one by ZY Ong.
Yeah. Okay, this.
Yeah, Louis, go ahead.
Okay, there's a question asked by ZY Ong. Between investing in real estate and stocks, which do you think is better?
You see, again, I would say that this is a very vague question. Then I would ask back a lot of questions. Typically, when I talk to people that I know, right, like, are you talking about
Yeah.
now? Are you talking about in general? Are you talking about, because they are so different. Um, well, however, I'm a guy that I choose to believe that property. Typically, people would say that property is illiquid, right? Not so liquid as compared to stock and equities. But I choose to think differently. For example, one of the properties that I hold today, it's a District 9, 2 bedroom, rented out, good corporate tenant. He's giving me good rental returns. Now, then someone said, Aaron, for example, right now you want to take out money from there. How do you do it, right? You can't just offload. But again, you see, it's about the price. If market is calling for, or market valuation is now calling for, let's say, 2 million. Now, my question back to the person or anyone who says that property is not liquid would be that, what if I choose to sell at 1.8? What if I choose to sell at 1.7 plus? As long
Yeah.
as I'm still making a gain, like the exact same example I'm really giving is that I bought it at 1.5. How can it not be liquid, right? So I
Yeah.
would say that it's very different yet similar. It's all about expectations. And of course, you see, again, it's very deep a topic to go into, because why? I need to first understand the person. Now, today, whatever I've just shared, right, about, oh, liquid, not liquid, if I were to tell this to a 60-year-old guy, it's not fair. Why? Because as a younger guy, I'm able to take more risks.
Yeah.
As a younger guy, I went almost all in at 23, 24 because I have a good, safe job. I have
Yeah.
I have had no commitments. I have
Yeah.
had no dependence in that sense. I had my parents' place to live in, right? So it's very different. Everyone's profile is very different. So this question, I would say, it all depends on who you are, And then, a person should always have a mixed portfolio if we are talking about investment in the bigger topic. But if not, then I think today maybe we should be sticking more real estate related.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, we have another question here from Janelle Wong. She asked if you can only give one key advice to a budding investor, what would it be and where's a good place to start?
I suppose the good place to start means a good place to look into to buy a property. Uh, the key advice, I guess, would be personally, I like to buy properties in better location. You see, part of the reason why I didn't commit my first property, even though it's a new launch at a 500-600K kind of price, at further away places, even though it's still OCR, right? Suites available. If you do a Google search, it's actually people say it's near next, but to me, it's still District 19, regardless where is it. So what I'm trying to say is that I still tried my best to put it not too far out to like maybe the upright north in Yishun, Punggol, or whatsoever. Nothing wrong with those places, don't get me wrong, but I tend to believe in good places. So ever since I have came out of that property,
Mm.
the other properties that I bought are all fairly okay districts. Like the second one that I bought was for matrimonial home. It's in District 9 at Robertson Quay, right? And now where I'm living is in District 15 on Amber Road. So I like to put money in good districts, evergreen districts, such that it's always able to cater to more people who are also looking at such districts. Because you see, the thing is that perhaps maybe the people right now that I'm dealing with are usually also looking into living in a better quality of life.
Mm.
And with that, chances of people upgrading from a further OCR, RCR, and then CCR is high.
Yeah.
Hence, I like to be able to share this experience with people. That's why I would say a key advice would be if because the typical question I always get from people is also like that. Aaron, if I have 1.5 million, should I buy a 1 or 2 bedroom in CCR, or should I go all the way far out and I can afford actually a 3, 4, 5 bedroom? Yeah,
Mm.
so this is something. If you ask me, then I would choose a better location. So that's my advice.
Start a
Okay.
good location. Cool. Any other
Okay.
questions?
Yeah, we have a question from James. He asked, hi Aaron, for each of the OCR, RCR, CCR, and other segments freehold property, which new condo launch would you
Oh my.
recommend to buyers and why so? Okay, this just to answer James, you know what? Actually, yes, Aaron will answer bonus all these questions like where to find the gems and undervalued property. But this will be a special bonus that we are going to record in a video that if you sign up at our link just now earlier on we gave a link, you sign up and you will be able to hear what what Aaron recommends to people. Yeah.
If I were to share that right now, it would take another 3 hours.
Okay. All right. We are moving on. Time is getting a little tight.
Mm,
I want to ask you a personal question.
Sure.
You see, for myself, I grew up in a poor family. I never thought about financial freedom, right?
Mm.
Uh, it was never even in my radar. I just wanted to be happy. I'm young, I'm energetic, I want to just live life and all that. So I want to ask you, what does financial freedom mean to you? Is it important? Why is it important?
Wow. You always give me such
Yeah?
difficult, big questions, huh? Um, Now, first
What
of
does
all, I would say, again, for different people, it may mean different thing. But for myself, I look at this two words as basically being able to get anything you want without the need of stress. Now, again,
Mm,
you see, it's a very deep thing to discuss because you see, what I need and a lot of people my age need is very different, even at
yeah,
where I am right now. You see, I
yeah,
don't need a sports car, but a lot of people who is where I
yeah,
am, who are where I am right now, with the kind of income or money they have or whatsoever, they
yeah,
may actually need to buy a sports car because they want it, right? So first of all, I like to think that if I'm financially free, it is
yeah,
simply just means that I am able to get something. For example, right now I'm able to give my daughter the best education without having stress. I think that's
Yep.
very important. Again, this is not for everybody, because I'm not saying buying a sports car is wrong, right? But like myself right now, a typical 32-year-old, if you walk on the streets and they have my kind of progress, probably they would spend a lot on themselves, dressing up, wearing nice watches, nice bags, handbags, whatsoever. uh, I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's just different from who I am.
Yeah.
Hence, to answer your question, I would say that for me, it's really being able to get. You see, today, if I were to buy a sports car, actually, it's not difficult also, but I wouldn't feel stressful. But it's just probably gonna give me temporary pleasure. Hence, I think this two words simply means I'm able to do what I want or what people are doing without stress, and then I'm very happy already. And especially if like, for example, one day my daughter come crying to me, Papa, I want this thing, you know
Mm.
and I know that I'm able to get it for her. I
Yeah.
am so happy, because that, I think, as I'm growing up, especially in my younger days, maybe it was not so easy, yeah, to get whatever I want. Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully she doesn't ask for a Ferrari lah.
Yeah, I hope she won't.
Okay, Aaron.
That one I cannot afford. And I'll be very stressed.
Okay, Aaron. Actually, we got a question from Yvonne Lim. Okay, she asked, why would you choose a better location over a bigger unit?
Now again, you see, it's different. Again,
Mm.
different people, different profile. It's just my own profile, different
Yeah.
character, I would say. In fact, it was not easy for me. Right, I look at District 9 as a very very desirable address, because being in the trade, that is like the end game. If
Yeah.
I'm able to afford a District 9, it's like, wow, it's a trophy kind of feeling. So perhaps it's the same as why people, as David say, want to buy a Ferrari. It's the end. It's really, you have tried everything, and that's the best. So
Mm.
for me, I wanted to see what is it like being able to walk downstairs, have nice clubs, bars all around. So that's why I chose Robertson Quay.
Yeah.
Able to, when Zouk was open, at Clarke Quay, I could walk there with my wife, and
Mm.
it's just a couple of minutes, come back home again. So I just like to have had that feeling of able to afford a District 9. I guess it's very different from everybody. But of course, today, you see, I have also moved out of District 9. Why? Because maybe to buy a 4 5 bedroom, I cannot afford, right? So I'm now at the East Coast, very comfortable with my wife, a helper, and also my child, hoping to expand. But at the same time, funny thing is, I've reached the age, or maybe I would say a life stage, that I'm also looking to expand again. So right now, I'm also looking for a bigger space. So I,
Oh,
I guess it all it all depends on who you are, where you at right now in the phase of your life. It's very different. Yeah.
just
So I hope
moving
I
forward.
answered Yvonne.
So keep moving forward lah. Um,
Yeah.
Thank you for all the questions you've answered. We want to talk a little bit more of the special bonus. I know we've posted a link below. So Aaron will share where he believes are the hidden gems or undervalued property in the market. All right. What you need to do is like our page. You can send out your name and email address to this link. The link is been posted in the comment section. You need to cut and paste onto your internet search engine, or the link is also live on a previous comment that we have posted. Okay, it's not part of the live broadcast. Please understand that it's a video recording that will be emailed to you. So we need your name and we need your email. Aaron, we want to thank you for being with us today. All right, can everyone just thank Aaron
Pleasure.
being with us today? We're not finished yet. We just want to make sure everybody thanks you. All right, we've learned so much. Now,
Thank you
before we
so much.
end tonight's Rich Conversation, all right, we are here at Rich Conversation. We're kind of greedy for more information so that we can learn. I never thought of being a millionaire before 30. Never even crossed my mind. So we want to, pull off you the gems and nuggets that we can learn, and we want to learn our audience to also learn. So if there was one thing, right, you could share with people who are listening. There could be people who are never invested before. There are people who have just started investing. There are people who are seasoned investors. Just one thing. What would be that one one thing you want to share with our audience on their journey to be richer?
I would say, regardless of where you are, how old you are, to have more in life, basically, it's always about working harder. There's no shortcut, there's no secret, actually. It's all
Mm,
about back to the two things that I've talked about that I really believe in a lot is
yeah,
if you want something and you
yeah,
really, really want to get it, you just
yeah,
have to put in more effort than the rest. That
yeah,
extra mile really counts. And extra miles comes in two things, either time or money. When you're able to spend that money,
yeah,
invest it well to get it back for you, or
yeah,
to grow more money for you.
yeah,
When you don't have that much money, you have to, like I said, if one job only gives you $2,000, if I'm back there again, I would do two jobs. I would sleep
yeah,
less, work harder. It all depends on commitments as well. It's easy for me to say, but you see, it again depends on individual, because
yeah,
some, of course, due to health, religion, family commitment, or current work that's so difficult and already heavily committed in terms of time, they may not even have more time. So it all depends, but I guess it's still, in any situation, there's always these two things to look into, whether you're really putting in 100% time to get more, and whether or not you are willing to pump in more money into your business, whatever you are doing, to actually get more. Because I see a lot of people who make good money, but they get very wary to reinvest that money into the business. Yeah.
mm, cool. No, we really appreciate it. There's no
Thank you.
secret besides hard work. So we want to thank Aaron. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank
Thank
you,
you for
Ian.
really,
It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank
we really
you.
appreciate it for sowing what you've sown into our hearts today so that
Yes,
all of us can be richer. Thank you so
thank
much,
you.
Aaron. We see you soon.
Thank,
All right.
yep.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Our special guest, Chris Chu, a reluctant investor turned rich, will share with us about his magic pot of investments. All right, so Chris Chu is coming on next Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. Tuesday on 26th of May. Write it down in your calendar. All right, 8:30 p.m. Tuesday. He is coming to share secrets about his magic pot of investment, his prudent and safe strategy. Now, if there are any topics about property investment or related questions that you are interested in, please let us know in the comment section. And I promise you, we will cover it in the weeks to come. Just let us know,
Yep.
whatever is property related, just let us know. Don't ask us about where the best kway teow is. I know, but that's not what the rich competition is about. Ask us about
Yep.
property related questions and we'll cover it in the weeks to come. All right?
Yep.
Your host, David ECD,
And this is
and
Nicole.
whatever your dream or goal may be, we wish you every success. Be richer. Bye.
Bye.
Next
See
week.
you next Tuesday.